Hey everyone, Anthony Ramos from GLAAD here, and we are so excited to be working with Ketel One Family-Made Vodka during the holidays on a special series called Marvelous Hour, where we're going to be chatting with some of our favorite LGBTQ celebrities, and we're going to show you all how to make the perfect festive cocktail. Today, we're going to be chatting with the amazing Emmy winner, Jay Rodriguez, and learning how to make the classic Ketel One Martini. So Jay, how are you?
I'm doing really well. I have to tell you, this is oddly on brand. I go live every afternoon on my Facebook page, and I always have a martini. But to be honest, I've just kind of eyeballed it and just kind of be like, that'll do. You know, this'll put a little pep in my step, and I'm glad to have all the proper ingredients here. It's like bringing me back to my Queer Eye days.
I know, we're gonna learn from the best. So that actually is a great opportunity. I wanna kick things off by welcoming our special mixologist, Al Utt, who is in Oregon. They're gonna show us how to make this perfect martini and celebrate this holiday season. So Al, how are you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
Doing well. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna turn it over to you because I have a feeling you can make a martini much better and more professionally than Jay.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. It's I have my own way of doing things. So
okay.
The martini, you've probably had a bunch of different ways. So we're gonna put our ice in our mixer.
Okay.
So my martini that I'm showing you guys today is called a 50-50 martini. The key ingredient for my 50-50 that I'm going to show you today is the vermouth. So typically you're going to be dealing with a dry vermouth. This is also a dry vermouth, but it's a Blanc. So it's going to be like a little bit sweeter than the typical dry vermouth. So we're going to start with that. We're going to take our jigger, and on the larger side, we're going to...
Okay, larger side.
Yeah, the larger side. We're going to look at the little line inside there. That's
okay.
1.5 ounces.
Okay.
So we're gonna...
There it is.
And just a reminder, following along, you don't have to memorize this recipe. It's going to be available on GLAAD.org. Be sure and enjoy this, but you'll be able to find the instructions later. So
it smells. It's really aromatic. It smells really nice.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite vermouths. Gonna get a lot of floral, a little bit sweeter than the dry, so it kind of complements the vodka in that way, I think. So moving slowly, because we're making kind of a low ABV drink. We don't really care if it dilutes that much.
And wait, let's not forget the key ingredient right there.
The Ketel One.
Ketel One.
Did you hear that snap on the bottle? That means it's fresh.
Yes, Ketel One Family-Made Vodka, the must-have cocktail for everyone's holiday season.
So now we're using the same amount of vodka as we did the vermouth, correct?
Yeah, 50-50.
Okay. Got it.
So Ketel One is perfect because it's super clean, great for a martini, which is why I was like, ooh, let me do the martini because it's Ketel One. So we've got those ingredients in there, and I kind of noticed that my ice is floating a little bit. So I'm going to throw some more ice in.
Is that melting?
It's like, it's keeping the liquid inside the mixer kind of evenly cooled, So I just like a little bit of extra ice. It also helps my spin. Okay. So I just slide the spoon down the side of the glass. And you want to kind of like treat the ice as if it's a solid while you're stirring it. And that way you're not like chipping it and getting too crazy. I mean, you may notice that I'm taking my time with this, so the dilution is going to be extra.
Who knew the ice was such a key part of this whole little cocktail?
I mean, I'm learning so much.
You guys are sweet. Okay, so in the 50-50, we have a little bit of orange bitters, which is not traditional in a martini, but it's fun. I like it. If you have a full bottle of bitters, it's going to come out a little bit slower. So I'm going to say like 2 drops. If your bottle has less, it'll come out faster. You do like a dash would be equivalent. So we're going to grab our lemon and our knife or a peeler. If you don't have a peeler, you're going to want to really focus on how deep you go into the peel. The white pith is going to add more bitterness to your drink. So it's kind of up to you. If you like a little bit more bitter, it's okay to leave a little bit of white on your twist. If not, just go real thin. So we'll make it fancy by just like cutting a little shape into it. Personally, I just like a clean edge.
Went a little too deep on my side. I'm gonna try that again. Hold on.
First cut is the deepest, right? Yeah.
Apparently. Now I know what that means. Okay, I think I got it.
So then is it like a little rectangle you made, Al?
I do like a little shape kind of like this. I think that's fun. The key is that you want it to be wide enough to where you can still pinch it. And then the key with this particular mixer and julep strainer getup I was playing with last night is you'll want to set it just on the edge there. And then I did like a little pinch in between my index finger and my middle finger and then slide it in there. So it's like kind of holding the thing back, but also.
Oh, I see.
Is that making sense?
Yeah.
So then you have it there, and then you want to slide it to the bottom of the mixing glass so that you're not getting any ice chips.
Oh, it's all happening.
Wow.
So we're going to grab our little twist, and we're going to take yellow side towards the drink, and we're going to just like kind of hover it like a few inches over, and then we're going to pinch it, and the oils will express over the drink. If you like the orange oils.
I can see it happening.
Yeah, if you like the oils a lot, you can go directly on, but I like it to stay a little bitter, so I throw it right in.
I love the throwing in, yeah.
Yeah, so that is a complete drink. I think we're ready for a cheers.
Cheers.
Well, cheers. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
One Family-Made Vodka.
That is delicious.
It means a lot to me from you.
I really did think this was going to be like overwhelming, that it would just be really kind of vodka forward. But I don't know if it's the vermouth, but I really for sure like the bitters. There's almost like a subtle sweetness to it that I really like.
Yeah, totally. I'm really glad you like it.
Wow. I'm impressed because this isn't something that I would necessarily order, but now I feel like I found my new favorite drink.
Hey, so this, and explore your vermouths. This one is really good, like with a slice of strawberry and soda by itself. Okay. The world of vermouths, you'll go down a rabbit hole. But
okay,
this is a really good starting one.
I normally do like a dirty martini. I remember getting the wrong vermouth for that once, and that really set me down a bad path. But this really exciting me. I have to tell you, this is so smooth and delicious. It's also really classy looking, which I kind of like too.
I like your stemware. It's very classic.
Thanks.
I love that. Al, before we let you go, because this has been so much fun, I'm glad. I think it's important to recognize that the holidays can be tough. They can be stressful, especially for the LGBTQ community. Do you have any sort of, advice or thoughts, or maybe something that you do during the holidays to kind of, get through them, and especially during this crazy time?
I like to do projects. I like to do like art gifts, especially being home a lot these days. I think just like finding little things that I can make and send to friends and loved ones has been like a really good way to fill my time and fill my heart with love.
That's
so sweet. Yeah, I mean, projects and Ketel One martinis. Cheers to
that.
Cheers. I love that. Well, Al, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Happy holidays to you and your family. Enjoy Oregon, and you definitely are a rock star bartender mixologist. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And by the way, Al, when the world is open and it's safe to travel, I will come to Oregon and sit at your bar and have a drink with you, because this is delicious, and this is just the beginning, I'm sure. So
yes,
I can't
would
wait
love
to meet you.
Same to you. Bye, fellas.
Bye. Thanks so much. Well, Jay, now that we have got this fancy, festive Ketel One martini, shall we have a little chat and catch up? You and your Ketel One and your Emmy Award.
Oh, my Emmy. Well, what's funny is I was just with the Imperial Court of Los Angeles, and of course, Queen Mother of the Americas, Empress Nicole. And, for those who don't know, it's a very, for decades, this organization has been really helping the community and filling in the gap when no one had our backs. And I was just honored with an award there, the Jose Sadia Award, because I portray Jose Sadia on Equal. And I got to tell you, I was so nervous, and you would have thought they were giving me another Emmy. But I was also by the Queen Empress, Mother of the Americas, honored with the title of like His Royal Highness Prince of the Americas or something. I don't know what it means yet, but I'm determined to find out.
Jay Rodriguez, His Royal Highness Prince of the Americas. I like the sound of that.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, listen, anything to stand out. I mean, you know, Jose Sade, who established the Imperial Court so many years ago, wanted to stand out back in the day because there were drag queens and there were empresses and there was suddenly so many empresses, and she thought, how can I stand out? And decided to create a character by just saying she was married to Edward Norton, who was an eccentric who lived in the 1800s. She even went so far to visit his gravesite and make it an annual thing. So I feel like there's a kind of nice little legacy there of just, you know, claiming it. Could you imagine what will happen if I just introduce myself as the Crown Prince from now on? That'd be very weird.
I mean, that should be like, if for your next movie or whatever you do, it should be Emmy winner, Crown Prince of the Americas.
Yeah, and maybe like no explanation. They just have to sit with it and be like, wait, what?
I do want to bring that up because you mentioned Equal, which is, you know, I want to remind everyone out there, Equal is this incredible multi-part series on HBO Max. It's available now. After you watch this, go click it, go find it. But, you know, it really goes into the early trailblazers of the LGBTQ community. And it's amazing because we have today's queer actors like yourself portraying the pioneers of yesterday. And it's great to remember how far we've come, but still, you know, what we need to accomplish. So what was that experience like for you to kind of get to do and look into the history books?
I think it was overwhelming because I felt at first a deep-rooted shame in not knowing more of who these people were, or maybe knowing their name and not knowing the fullness of the work and what they had to experience to be activists. The idea that Jose and those who were in drag in 1960 at the Black Cat would often be raided by the police and face brutality and imprisonment. You lose your job. You always had to wear 2 articles of men's clothing. And it was a daunting task because I've never played someone who I've never played a real person before. And certainly not someone with such a long legacy and having so many supporters who continue Jose's work through the Imperial Court. But I knew I had to get it right because I was like, oh gosh, this is very specific. I auditioned actually, I think many of us auditioned for roles that we were not actually auditioning for. They were just kind of reading everyone with the same script. I remember speaking to Jose's successor just to get a sense of what I maybe couldn't learn online on a personal level. And at the end of our conversation, which was very generous, she gave me a lot of her time, she said, just know that the spirit of Jose will be with you tomorrow. And the whole world had locked down because of the beginning of the pandemic. And so I was on a COVID safe set, but I was the only one shooting. So I was kept by myself. It was very quiet and it was a skeleton crew and on a big sound stage. And so I was alone a lot. And I was walking around in the costume and just trying to connect with the spirit of Jose. And I'm not really like a overly spiritual person, but I have to tell you, I felt like something magical happened when the day we shot.
It is magic, and the series is so well done, multiple parts, and you know, I just want everyone to reminder, it's called Equal, it's on HBO Max. I think every queer person must watch it, and you know, that's so important. We need to learn more about our own history and our own culture, and I think you know, projects and like these are exactly what we need. By the way, I'm just looking at our looks that are very holiday corresponding, which I
That's
love.
Right. I just want to curl up, you know, and
Yeah.
socially distant cuddle with my dog.
Speaking of that, let's have another Ketel One. Cheers. Thanks.
So good.
What is, no, I mean,
Wait, can I be honest?
Yeah.
I thought this was going to taste really, really bad because I thought it was going to be straight alcohol.
Right.
And in my mind, I thought it was just me like drinking vodka. And I was like, oh God, what did they set me up for? This is really delicious. And this might be, it's hard to describe, but it's like almost like there's a sweetness to the vodka where it doesn't have a sting.
Everyone has been such a generous supporter of GLAAD, and they're always with us at our media awards. And they especially I would say within the last years, have really ramped up this kind of experience with the cocktails, bringing in all these different garnishes and different, fresh juices. So it's really been like an experience. It's not just about, straight up.
It's funny, when I was putting the awards that I'd gotten this weekend from the Imperial Court, I have like a little shelf of like awards, and I haven't had that many outside of the Emmy, but two I have are my GLAAD Media Awards, which, I love because they're from, I think, 2004, maybe 2005. And it just, every time I see that little area, it's such a beautiful reminder of the great work that you guys do.
Well, we so appreciate that, and we obviously appreciate all of that you do for the community. And speaking of the community, holidays, it's a time to definitely be, celebrating and having a good time. But this is definitely going to look very different. What are your holiday plans? How are you going to, kind of do Christmas and holidays in quarantine?
Yeah, Anthony, and I love this question. You kind of hit on it a little bit earlier. And, if I can cut right to the chase, I know a lot of people have very tricky situations with family around the holidays, and not all of it is holly and mistletoe for many of us. A little bit about my backstory. I grew up very evangelical. My grandmother basically raised my mother and me as siblings. She had me young. My mother moved in with her mom, and her mom became sort of my mom. And I didn't really move alone with my mom until I was 12. And then at that point, she was super evangelical, and we just never connected as a mother and father traditionally do. So our holidays were really focused on the church and philanthropy, and spending time with those that were experiencing homelessness. That was just part of our weekly normal kind of vibe. And I'm thankful for that time. It's probably why I feel so drawn to helping others. But when I got Rent, which is interestingly a musical that, starts on Christmas Eve, it was an amazing thing for me after going to performing arts high school and having to smuggle in, CDs of Rent and write Amy Grant on them so my mom wouldn't find the contraband because it wasn't for the glory of God. And coming out was a really tricky experience. I basically came out of the closet by defending who I would be playing in Rent, HIV positive drag queen. And that didn't go over so well with my mother. And I remember, her kind of last words were, if you leave and go and do this show, you're turning your back on God. And if you're turning your back on God, you're turning your back on me. I don't want that sickness in my house. And that's really kind of hard to bounce back from, especially if you don't have a deep-rooted foundation. So I was so pleased when I did my first Broadway show shortly after, like a couple months later, and met this family of choice, the Rent family. And they really took me under their wing and raised me and reared me. And I had several trans women who were kind of like surrogate moms. Rosie comes to mind, and she would make me after performances of Rent, she would make me like chicken wings was my favorite, and a brown cow, which is like almost like a mudslide or something. And I would go to her house, and she had served in the military. And so I honor the people who were there for me during the holidays. But 9 times out of 10, you can usually find me in Puerto Vallarta, generally not on the beach, but performing in the showrooms. This year, it's a little different. I don't feel super safe going back. So I think what I'm going to do is continue my virtual shows and maybe do a holiday concert on my Facebook for free, and just have people come by and celebrate with the people like me who have kind of more layered experience. And, Anthony, I think a lot of times people are scared to ask about the holidays. And people who know my story are sometimes sensitive. And I know that there's a lot of people who are watching this who are in similar shoes where it wouldn't be safe to go back home, not just because of COVID. And I think that's okay to lean into the beautiful family of choice that we all create and that support us. Family for me are the people who are really there for you.
I love that. And that's so beautiful. And that is one of the things that we have been at GLAAD, especially during this time, is, looking after the queer community and reminding everyone about, chosen family. It's hard not being able to, go out and physically be with your friends and your chosen family, but we can do it like this on these virtual.
Yeah.
So I really hope that.
Absolutely. And I understand that the people are just exhausted of mask wearing, of isolating. There was cities in and states all over the U.S. that are opening up, and now we're recognizing that might have been a bit of a mistake, and everyone got a little too casual. And so as we start to think about holiday time, it's really important that we might just have to sit this one out instead of celebrating, up close and personal, so that when things are better, we still have just as many people to hug and love on.
That is a perfect way to describe it. Yes, wear a mask, wash your hands, but GLAAD has also been reminding everyone to do that as well. Before we wrap up, how happy are you to see the legacy of Queer Eye that you started just continue to reach another generation and another group of people, and to still be changing lives and making impact?
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't think at the time when I was 23 and got in the show, many of us first season assumed it was just going to be that one season and had all planned on going back to our jobs. So it came as a shock when we had triple the ratings in Bravo's history ever, and all the sort of accolades that came with that show and that experience. But it wasn't really until years later that I understood the cultural significance and impact being a part of the first all-out gay cast in network history ever. And I think, to be honest, television shows come in and out of favor. And when I heard the announcement via the producers, they were like, "Hey, Jay, we've got some exciting news." And I was like, "What is it?" And they're like, "And by the way, this was in the middle of all the reboots coming back." And they're like, "We're bringing Queer Eye back." And my Puerto Rican ass had to jump right in there. No one took a breath. And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing." Because now in my 30s, I feel like I have so much more to offer with an all new cast. And I was severely butthurt for 24 hours. And then I remember talking to my team, my reps, and they said, "Do you know how hard we had to fight to get people to see you again as an actor?" We already had hurdles to climb because you're a Latinx and there wasn't a lot for me. I was an out queer man, and I had all these boxes, and after a while the work superseded my identity, and it was no longer an issue, and I'd worked really hard on that. And so when this new version came out and I got to meet the new cast, and they greeted us with such kindness and grace, and in some ways humility for what we had done. And I really hope that someone somewhere has us all working together in some capacity, a holiday special or something that isn't a competition like Family Feud, because frankly, I don't want to have to whoop their butts again.
Those are fighting words. Well, back when the GLAAD Media Awards are back in person, I'm happy to reunite everyone on stage.
Will you? Because just so you know, that would be the first time all 10 of us were ever on stage together. It hasn't happened yet. We've done 9, I think, 1, 2, 3 times. But for some odd reason, we can't get all 10. Someone's schedule is always wonky. So if you make that happen, that would be amazing. Also, I'd really like another award for my mantle, so let me know what I have to do. I'll go. Just kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. But anything that you want. I've always been the kid brother in my group, and so the producers would often sometimes ask me, like, "Hey, the boys don't want to do this, but could you talk to them?" And then little baby Jay would be like, "Guys, come on, it's just Vegas for the weekend, just to say hi to the ad sales people for once. I've never been before." So I'll get them on that stage. Don't you worry. We'll get together.
I absolutely love it. Jay, thank you so much for this chat. Happy holidays, and thanks again to our friends at Ketel One Family-Made Vodka for hosting this marvelous hour, and big thanks to Al Utz. And we're gonna put up this full recipe for this fabulous martini up on the screen, and you can also make it at home by going to our website, GLAAD.org, and you can find out how to make this with all of the ingredients. But Jay, it's been so fun.
Thank you so much for celebrating, and I cannot wait to make this on my own. Al is not here to judge, but I think I can make them proud.
I think we can too. Well, happy holidays, and like I said, we'll see you hopefully in person very soon.
I look forward to it.